What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Automotive Life. This video is all about flipping cars. That's right. We're going to be flipping buckets on this video, and we're going to be doing a mini series about it because I've seen a bunch of YouTubers talking about how they bought a car for $1,000 and they flipped it for $5,000. But they never show you all the exact steps to how they did it. So this mini series is going to be about how to buy cars, where to buy them, how to buy them, making bids, doing the recon, how to save money and how to avoid pitfalls, as well as the marketing and the sales, so this way you can sell that particular vehicle. So the only thing I'm going to stress at the beginning of this video is make sure if you want to do this business and you want to be successful, do the research on recon. All your money is going to be lost with repairing the vehicles. You never make the money when you buy or when you sell the car. You always make the money when you buy the car. If you buy it right and you know the common problem with these vehicles, you will make a lot of money and you'll be successful. So before you go out and start buying $500,000 or $500 to $1,000 buckets on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, make sure you sit down, you do the research, you find out the most common problem on these vehicles. Now you're gonna see me running around all over the place, bidding on cars, just random numbers. It's because I've seen these vehicles 1,000 times and I know the most common problems on these vehicles. So before you do that, make sure you do your research. I apologize for the video quality. It was last minute. I had to run with my iPhone. I had to get there that morning before the vehicles went to the auction. Plus it was about 115 degrees out here in Vegas, so it was extremely hot. So if you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section below. I'll answer every single one of them. And like I said, don't be afraid to start out with small, affordable cars to build your business. Whether you want to flip cars on the side and make some extra money, or if you actually want to do this as a living and open up a dealership, this will be a good mini series to watch. So let's get into the video. Okay, so I just got out of my car. I'm walking the lot. You can kind of see there's just buckets pretty much everywhere. This right here is, we'll start right here with this Nissan Armada. These are good cars, but they have two major flaws. The timing chains always go out on them, and the transmissions are garbage. So make sure you keep that in your mind. Start to learn about mechanical. Even though you're about sales, you want to start learning about what to buy, the common problems with the cars. So this way when you go out and do your bids, you don't get screwed. 90% of the dealers I see fail. They fail because they don't take the time to research recon, and then that's their biggest money pit. They just lose money because they buy stuff like this. You know, this one runs and drives fine, but I'm actually going to stay away from it because I don't want the headache, because I know that this is a ticking time bomb. So let's go ahead and move forward here. We got this junk, Christ Pacifica, you don't want that. Lincoln Aviator. Now this one does run and drive, I was told, has keys. But the other thing about these cars, if there's any front end damage, once again, do your research on recon of vehicles. This particular car right here, you cannot buy aftermarket parts, and there's no more factory parts left over. So this hood is $1,400. That's if you could find one. So a lot of times I see these deals on these Aviators, but like I said, a lot of the parts you can't get anymore. So make sure you do your research. We got these 7 Series right here. These things are junk. Don't ever buy them. I don't care if you get them like this one. They told me I could have it for 300 bucks. I don't even want it because it's just absolute junk. Look at this beautiful cream puff right here. This thing's in great shape. Fast forward, Range Rovers. These cars right here, the suspensions go out on them, the head gaskets blow, the fuel pump's about 800 bucks, and they're just nothing but problems. So if you're flipping cars on a budget, don't start here. I know it's tempting. You see a Range Rover in the middle of all these buckets, and you're like, I could buy that for $1,000 bucks. Don't do it. So right here, perfect thing, you're gonna laugh, this truck right here, Dodge. It's got the V6 in it, runs and drives good. They put the fake 2500 badge on the side of it. This one we're probably gonna offer them close to about 800 bucks because I know I could, no matter what, sell this thing for $1,500 cash, or if I do financing, $29.95, 29% interest. We would just, you know, fix up the dents in the back, go ahead and paint the fenders, change the windshield in the back there, make it a little bit nicer, so this way we can get full, all the money for it as far as the what it's valued at. So a decent looking truck. Pacificas, like I said, they're absolute junk. Don't even waste your time. The parts cost more than the car itself, and they always break down. Another one, any one I buy, Tahoes. I love these things. Whether they're running, driving, whatever, I buy the shit out of them. Excuse me, I buy them like crazy because these cars just, they don't die, and then the parts are very inexpensive. So, and these ones are great for buy here, pay here. So if you want to build your inventory, these are the vehicles you want to get. Another good one, Chevy Malibu. It's not as popular, but like this car right here, You know, I think it's what is this one? It's an 05, so it's not too bad looking, in decent shape. It runs and drives, so this one I'm probably going to bid about 900 bucks on it, because I know that if I fix it up and clean it up, I could sell it for $29.95, buy here, pay here, $1,000 down, you know, very simplistic. So a lot of times, you know, these are the cars you want to buy. I do buy some expensive cars when we flip them, but it's such a headache and you got to worry about the financing. These ones, as long as the people have a pulse and $1,000, you roll them out of the thing. If they have really bad credit, you make them pay every 2 weeks. If they have super bad credit or they're like really, really bad, and then you can make them pay weekly. So let's go over here. Another good one, these old school Hondas, same thing, they don't die. This one, I'll probably pay about maybe 600 bucks for it. I'll put it for like $19.95 cash, or like same thing, $29.95, $900 bucks down, you know, $250 a month for eternity. So keep walking through here. Got a Dodge Dakota. These things are great, but the motors are very expensive, so make sure you double check that out. Scion TCs, do not buy them. They are junk. The transmission and the motor cost more than the whole car. So I see these all the time. This one actually runs and drives. The clutch cylinder is bad, so I made him an offer of about $500 because I know that that motor is a ticking time bomb, and there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong with it, as well as the transmissions and synchros in them. They burn out a lot because kids think these are race cars and they're really not. So let's keep scrolling through here. All right, these Jeeps right here are great. The 4-liter is probably one of the best motors that is ever built for Jeep. This car right here, I made it off for 500 bucks. This one actually, I'll sell for like $29.95 or maybe $2,500 cash. These things are just great. Parts are cheap. There's a huge following. No matter how old they get, they always seem to hold their value. It's amazing. So that's a good one. Another good one right here is this Honda Pilot. 3 rows. These ones, every time I get these, they always have like 200K on them. I don't know why. People just drive the heck out of them here in Nevada. So this one's a pretty good one. Like I said, if the transmission's bad, stay away. They're a little pricey, but there's so many Honda parts out there. It's just, you can usually find a good deal on one. Another thing on these ones, the interior, I don't know why, the leather just falls apart. So I won't show you the inside of this one, it's just trashed. But when I make my bids, I'm looking at this as far as not only the repair side, worst case scenario, but I'm also looking at on the recon side and how popular it is. Because there is a lot of cars, like perfect example. This is a newer Chevy Impala. This thing is a great car. It's very clean. It just has like a few dents, something like that. Somebody didn't pay their bill. You know, I like this car a lot. This is a great retail car. But if I were to do it for a buy here, pay here, it would sit there forever because people just don't have the money for the down payments. So I like to stick with, I call them buckets. You can call them affordable cars, cheap cars. You know, I call it the bucket blowout. So, you know, these buckets, stuff like this, you know, that you could buy for under $2 grand, believe it or not, that stuff sells. And if you buy the right ones, you don't have to worry about having a massive lot with 70, 80 cars. You can do this with 10 cars on a tiny lot with very, very low overhead and make actually really good money. So let's just keep walking through here. Tauruses, they're good, but everybody knows the motors and transmissions blow up on them. So I'll tell you in the beginning, stay away from them. This one's got like 60,000 miles. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna buy it for 500 bucks. You know, sell it for $19.95 cash. Pray that the guy doesn't blow up on me and pass the smog. Another Dodge Dakota, same thing, the motor's blown. Motors cost more than the actual car, so I'm not even gonna waste my time. Suzuki Ario. These are actually good cars when they're running, but I'm gonna tell you this right now, if you need parts for Suzuki, there's motor parts, you can still find them because they share a lot of stuff with Chevy and still other Suzuki makers. But as far as like the body panels, I had one of these that was actually really sharp, had low miles. You cannot get parts for this thing anywhere. So when I was missing a door panel, I'm missing like a bumper clip, and I couldn't find it. And some of the side skirt molding, like I said, all right, sorry about that, guys. I actually got a phone call right when I was finishing the filming. Another good one, Trailblazers. This one's rough, so we're not gonna mess with it, but they're pretty decent cars, great for buy here, pay here, they last. Another Range Rover, do not touch them. Bunch of waste of money. This one right here, this Honda Element. These are great cars, run and drive great. Sorry about that, I keep getting phone calls. I need to turn off my phone. We're gonna go into this Honda Element. They're great cars. This one right here runs and drives. It's a little rough on the outside. It's got like 200K. I'm probably gonna offer them like 800 bucks, sell it for maybe 29 or 39.95. $1,000 down, get it rolling. So sometimes you can luck out with buying these cars from an actual vendor because you don't have to pay the auction fees. You know, like there's another good one, Ford Fusion. People don't like these. I actually like them a lot. That's a good one. But you want to make an effort to try to buy cars like this from these vendors, because as you build that relationship, you're going to save money. So perfect example, this car right here. They've had this one for months. This Cadillac, I'm just going to buy it. Going to give them 300 bucks. I'm probably going to take it to the junkyard, maybe sell it for 300, maybe get $200. But I'm willing to make that sacrifice to show them that I'm invested with them to buy their inventory, because they can invite a bunch of dealers, a bunch of other people out here to buy their inventory. But you know, all these dealers are going to cherry pick all the ones that run and drive. But what about the buckets? I get more of my deals, and a lot of times I buy these without keys. People, they don't know, like this Nissan, same thing, they can't get it started. I told them I buy it anyways. It could be something simple, could be a nightmare, I have no idea. But I'm clearing off all the unnecessary inventory, because if they take this to the auction, they're going to get maybe $200 from the scrap guy, and it's going to cost maybe $100 for the auction fees. So they're going to only get literally $100 out of that car. So if I give them 300 or 200, they'll be happy. And then on top of that, you know, all these cars, you remember, I picked out about 20 cars already that I'm going to buy. Each one of those cars that I'm buying, I'm saving $200. So I don't have to pay the auction fees, I don't have to pay flooring fees, none of that. So with that extra money saved, I could sprinkle it on some of these other small buckets that I know that I'm not going to fix and I'm not going to buy because they're just absolute junk. So like I said, when you build this relationship with this vendor, make sure that, like I said, you don't only pick out the cream puffs, you pick out everything, you know, so this way you can, like I said, build that rapport. Ford Fusions, great cars. Make sure that you check them out. They have a big problem with intakes and transmissions. Make sure you change the oil, change the filter. These Mercedes right here, they're selling me this one without a key. I'm not going to buy it because they're just too expensive. Another Aviator, once again, buy it. I'm buying it without keys. You know, it's kind of a crapshoot. Could fire up, could run great, could have low miles, could be a complete pile of junk. I have no idea. You know, this Denali right here, this is an 04 Denali. I'm buying this one, same thing, no keys, as is. You know, if it runs and drives, fantastic. If it's a big ball of junk, don't know. Lexus, same thing as well. I'm buying it with no keys, $300. To me, it's worth a gamble. This Volvo Xc90, it's actually a pretty nice car. And we walk out in the front here. This one, same thing, no keys. So, crapshoot, once again. We got another Mercedes here up on our left. It's junk. I'm not going to touch it. These MLs are great running cars if you can get them with the key. This one doesn't have the key. I'm not going to waste $200 to buy a key and then find out it's a complete piece of junk. Let's keep scrolling. We got a bunch of minivans to our left here. I'm not really a big minivan person. You can see them all right here. Some people do really well with them. Some people don't. I'm one of those people that's not so much. Believe it or not, these are one of my favorite cars to buy for buy here, pay here. This is the Buick Century. It's something very cheap and expensive, but they're great, reliable daily drivers. They're very cheap. I'm probably going to give them about $400 for that car. Maintenance on this car, like I said, is extremely cheap. There's not a lot of things that break down on this particular vehicle, so that's why I think it's such a great car to buy. This van's actually clean. I might give this one a shot. I offered him 800 bucks for it. Runs and drives, AC blows cold. You know, I figured if I get somebody with $1,000 down, I'm out of the car, and then whatever I make on top of that is profit. Honda Civics, I always buy them. This is a little two-door. These cars are pretty much great. You don't really have to worry about them. A lot of things here in Nevada, though, so many of these are salvage and rebuilt. So make sure you check that. If you're a car flipper, it doesn't really matter to you, but as a dealer, you got to make sure that you know, and you have to disclose that to every single customer. And if I were you, I'd print it on a individual piece of paper and make them sign it. So this way they have 100% acknowledgement that they know it's salvaged or rebuilt, because by law, you have to disclose this stuff. And if you don't, they can come back 2 years from now and say, you didn't disclose this to me, you got to buy that car back. And I've seen it happen to a few of my friends that do that. They buy all this shit from Copart, and they basically just screw people in the cars. And the next thing you know, they're all upset that, you know, people are coming back 2-3 years later getting their money back because he can't prove to them that he showed them or told them that it was rebuilt and was salvaged. So make sure you do that. That's very important. Dealer tip number 1 of the day. These are another one of my favorite cars, the Hyundais. Great cars, super easy to work on, and just reliable. And unlike a Honda, like if this was a Honda same year with low miles, it would be stupid. But this car right here, I'm gonna give them probably $600-700 for it. Runs and drives, has like 80,000 miles. This is a great car. Dodge Durango, these things are hit or miss. You know, we have a joke in the car biz, I'm sure everybody will know this. If your Chrysler has anything with a 7 at the end of it, 2.7, 3.7, 5.7, they're junk. And this one has a 5.7, so I'm praying to God that the Hemi will hold up. Another little TC, like I said, I don't really like to buy these because the parts cost more than the actual car, but this one actually runs and drives and the AC blows cold, so I'm gonna give it a shot for $600. This Camry right here, these are so hard to buy because I don't know why everybody loves these things, obviously, but this one's a little rough. It's got 200K, and I still had to give him $1,000. He wouldn't accept anything less because he knows that he could sell this at the auction. Got this little Nissan Xterra. Like I said, these are good cars. They do have a bunch of timing belt problems, but as long as you have a knowledgeable tech that could service that, you're fine. So as soon as I buy these, I change the water pump, I do the timing belt and the transmission service, and these will go 200,000 miles pretty easy. But this one right here runs and drives good, has about 160K on the miles. So I'm probably gonna buy it for about $800, I think is what I'm gonna offer. You know, and if you noticed, I'm trying to stay as much as I can under that $1,000 threshold because I wanna make sure that their down payment covers when I'm into the vehicle, because if you do it this way, a lot of times you're safe. You won't have to worry about it. And you gotta remember, a lot of these cars that I'm gonna get, like this car looks clean. But if we scroll around to the back here, you know, we got a busted windshield. One of the tires is dry rotted. I'm sure it's gonna need, like I said, timing belt, water pump, transmission. So I'm gonna have probably close to like $1,100 into this thing. So, you know, you don't wanna have that much money upside down on the streets. If you look right here, there's a few more cars I made offers on. Nissan Armada and another Lexus. I both bid on these. They have a bunch of semis, but I don't do semis. If you do semis, holler out at me. These guys got a ton of them for sale. They do loans on semis, construction equipment, and other stuff. So they got a bunch of them. So I'm walking back to my car, but basically, you know, what I wanted to show, oh, I guess I could show you these other ones too. I forgot I bid on these ones. Almost walked away. Another one I bid on, Dodge Avengers. Great small third row vehicles. This one I bet about $1,000 on them. These ones have a lot of problems with oil journals clogging up and transmission slipping because they're running low on fluid. So make sure, check that. These cars are good. You know, as you're buying the car, I always auto check. If you open up the door here, there's the door thing. If you have the mobile apps on your thing, you just scan the barcode right there, and this will actually give you a readout of the miles, the ownership, because you got to check this stuff because a lot of these people will lie to you. And then on top of that, these are repos. Nobody knows the true miles. So this one right here says it has 130,000 miles. It may have that, but to double check every single car, I run it. And then also I've seen people that have clean titles for vehicles, but in the previous history, it was salvaged or rebuilt. So you want to make sure every car you buy, you take the time and you scan the VIN, you run an auto checker, Carfax, whatever you guys use. You know, check the miles. Also, when you're checking the vehicles, go through everything. You know, take your time. You know, we're sitting right here. I like to really, like I said, dig in each car. I was doing this for probably about 3 hours before I actually started filming. But basically, I go through every single car. If I could fire them up, I fire them up. You know, put a load on the transmission, put it in reverse, press the brakes, see if the motor mounts are bad, jump it. Always let every car warm up to idle, so this way you can see if it has a head gasket or it has some sort of cooling problems or something like that. Check the belts. You know, a lot of times if you look at a car and you can tell that it's pretty well maintained, there's a few cars here that actually are pretty well maintained. You could tell that it was somebody's, you know, pride and joy. It was their car. But a lot of these people, they didn't give a crap. They just destroyed that car. That Dodge, same thing. They never changed the oil in that thing. This little Civic, same thing. I bought it for a good deal. It was a little rough, but it worked out. This truck right here, you're gonna laugh. It's an old Chevy. You kind of see it. It's not that fancy. It's ugly, but I paid $1,000 for it. And the reason why is everybody knows that the single bed or single cab short bed Chevy Silverados are gold. If you ever see one of these things, You buy it and put it on the West Coast and sell it. You will get every dollar. I had one of these clean, extremely clean, and I sold it for 7 grand. So this one right here, you're gonna laugh. I'll actually probably show a video of me restoring it. So this one right here, like I said, it's not really my cup of tea. It's an older truck. Oops, there you go. It's an older truck. You know, it's got some good bones, but it's just ugly. I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the paint job on it. I'm gonna go ahead and do new wheels, probably put some 24s or 26s on it. It's already slammed. I may put airbags onto it, put a fresh coat of paint, redo the upholstery. I'll probably put about 2 grand into it, and I'll sell it for about 6 to 7 grand. So people love these things, to each their own. Well, here's a good example. I bought this one for 500 bucks. Let me swing it around this way. Boom, for all my Ricer friends. Infiniti G35, it's a 6-speed. It's an 05, I believe, or 04. Outside is okay shape. Motor's pretty good. It fired up. Ran a little bit rough. Got some decent wheels. I don't know if you can see that. Looks like it was somebody's drift car, because if you look down here, it's got the bash bar and everything else on the front of it. You can see it right there. You know, it's different. It's not your everyday buying vehicle, but I know that I can buy it and I can sell it and make some money on it. A lot of these other cars, same thing. Not really my style, the minivans. But like I said, I'm probably gonna buy them. As long as you can buy it and get it running and driving for under $1,000. And if you're doing buy here, pay here in a good shape, or if you're just doing cash cars, do 2 grand out the door. You know, you make a quick $500 and you just keep adding to your inventory. The biggest thing is, don't be so caught up on making sure you have the nice cars or the flashy cars, because a lot of my dealer friends, I keep seeing them, all they want to do is buy high-end cars and brag to their friends, oh, I got a bunch of Mercedes and BMW on my lot, I got a bunch of new Evos and STIs and you know, everything else. It doesn't matter. You'll make more money on these buckets than you will on some of those cars, because I could sell like cars like mine. You know, I sell them every once in a while, $30,000-$40,000 cars, and I'll make maybe 2 to 3 grand on one of these. But sometimes I'll get these cars where I'll sell one of these buckets for 500 bucks that I bought. I could sell them for $39.95, and I make a 2 grand home run plus interest. So don't be afraid to start out small, and there is actual good money with buckets. So, you know, you could always buy at the auction, but like I said, go make friends with payday loan stores, pawn shops, title loan companies, mechanic repair facilities, because they lean a lot of vehicles. What else? Tow yards. You know, think outside the box. You don't have to buy every single car from the auction. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit today. If you have any questions, make sure you put them down below in the comment section. I'm going to do my best to make sure that I answer every single one of them. And we've actually just hit a big milestone. We just hit 1,500 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. We're going to try to do more content about buying and flipping cars. So once I get a few of these cars that I've shown you, we're going to pick a few of them out, and we're going to show you the process of us reconditioning them, how we market them, how we sell them, the process with that. Because like I said, I've seen a lot of videos of people saying they do it, but I've never actually seen any of these guys physically do it. They just like, oh, I bought this car for 500 bucks and I sold it for 7 grand. And you're like, okay, can you show me the steps and the process on how you turn, you know, this bucket right here, a $500 car, into whatever $5,000–$6,000? They never do. So I want to make sure that, you know, some of these cars that we bought today, I'm going to take them down there and I'm going to show you guys how we bought them, how we fixed them, how we reconned them, how we marketed them, and then the way I actually send them out, as far as either selling them to a bank or actually doing the buy here, pay here. So what else? Yeah, that's pretty much about it. I'm gonna get in my car. It's about 115 degrees right now. I'm sweating. I'm sure it looks really bad. Like I said, this was shot on my iPhone, so sorry if it's a little wavy, a little ugly, but like I said, it was kind of impromptu. I had to get here ASAP, so I didn't have time to get the camera or the drone and fly it around and do a bunch of cool aerial shots. But like I said, stay tuned for more content.